There's so many things I love about my life, and music is one of those. It's what I do as a job. I don't wake up every day and think, man, I got a musical career and I'm gonna go make a record today. But I just as much enjoy just loving on people. I love when I get into a youth group and I love finding the underdog. I love finding the kid in the corner that you know is the outcast, and I love going up to that kid and put my arm around that kid. I could do stuff like that for the rest of my life and not sing another song. Grew up playing drums, wrote my first song when I was 5 years old, was able to hear a pop song and be able to play it. And I was in the choir in a little Baptist church, and my heart was really after the Lord. All I wanted to do was just pick up a guitar and sing praise songs. God had a call in my life, and music was supposed to be a part of that. For some reason, it was contagious to me. It made me light up. It was a beautiful time of my life. It sort of anchored me. I felt like I was riding a wave that really was something very, very pure, and that really penetrated into my heart. This is just what I'm supposed to do with my life. Well, when I got to 17, all my older friends went off to college, and I moved to Nashville, Tennessee to be a songwriter. I was playing in after-hours bars from 1:30 to 5:30, just in a bunch of trouble. And I began to be enticed that maybe you could play with a fire and you won't get burned. Little did I know that I would be in the biggest pit of my life and feeling like there was no way of escape. Smoking that first joint and feeling so guilty about it. From there it went to, it was cocaine, it was LSD. And I'm just in the thick of it, man. I'm just doing this stuff, and I got sucked into this thing. For some reason, I justified it. You lose perspective. It's almost like your compass sort of just like disappears, and you enter this whole other world, and you don't really realize it's going down, and then all of a sudden it's too late. I'd flash back to those times when I was 15 going, just really hearing the voice of God going, I've got a call on your life. I knew where I belonged. I just couldn't get out of the mess that I was in. And I was very depressed. That went on for 3 years until I had a near-death experience and snorting something that you thought was cocaine, and it was something else, and thought I was going to die. Literally thought I'm dying. And that's when I began to pray that God would do whatever he had to do to get my attention. I need to be rescued. Everything began to change. And in November 79, I got rescued at 12:30 at night on the linoleum floor of my kitchen right outside of Nashville. I went on the floor and just began to shake. And I was crawled up like a baby, and I was just weeping. I was weeping, and I wept, and I wept, and I cried, and I cried. And I just began to cry out for God. The God of the universe came and wept with me on that floor, and I haven't been the same since. It all changed. I made up my mind that I would hold myself accountable. I would surround myself with great people. One thing led to another. 8 months later, I got my first songwriting contract, was getting paid $200 a week to write songs. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. And then all of a sudden, I found myself getting a record deal, and I'm in the studio 14 hours a day, and I'm writing songs. And, all of a sudden, I'm opening up for Amy Grant, and I'm doing my own tours. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself filling arenas. never could have orchestrated any of this. And so, been pretty remarkable. God's faithful. I know now what the real deal is. And I know now that selling millions of records doesn't bring you peace. And I know where my hope lies. It's not being a rock star. All that stuff dissipates, but it never lasts. It doesn't last. The greatest peace that I have is I know who I am. I'm a son of the High King of the universe. My identity crisis is solved. I am Michael W. Smith, and I am second. Other than coming to know Christ, really the second most remarkable thing that ever happened to me was meeting my soulmate, and met Debbie in 1981 after I'd gotten that songwriting contract, and had no interest in really dating at all, and just thought, I'm in the studio 14 hours a day and I'm writing songs, and at some point I'll get married. And she walked by me at a record company, and I knew at that very, very moment that was the girl that I was going to spend the rest of my entire life with. And we went out 4 days later. We were engaged 3.5 weeks later, and married 4 months later. Now, when I talk to youth groups and talk about stuff like this is not one thing that I really recommend, but I do believe that there really is such a thing as love at first sight. And God put her into my life. We have 5 beautiful kids. My wife was never supposed to have children. She had a bout of anorexia when she was in high school, and she was just told we'd never have kids, and that she probably could never get pregnant. So we were going to go to Vanderbilt for all these tests, and then my great friend and mentor, Don Finto, who is still one of my best friends and pastor, just said, we need to give God a shot on this one. And remember being prayed for by him and 11 other elders one evening. Make the long story short, she was pregnant 3.5 months later, and Ryan came, and then Whitney came, and then Tyler came, and Anna came, and then Emily came. And I actually remember calling Belmont when we found out we were pregnant with Emily, and said, would you please take us off the prayer list?